Why are Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain in the GOAT convos, but not George Mikan? Also, Mars, do you genuinely believe Jimmy Butler is greater than Kawhi Leonard all time?
Oh, please.
Hey, that's
please,
a
please,
good
please,
question.
please,
Why
please.
not Mike? Why isn't Mike can get talked about?
Oh,
For me,
no.
I'll speak for myself. For me, the reason is purely because he played basically his whole career before the shot clock. And reason A, the only George Mikan film I found is about 48 seconds long. And I don't talk about players I haven't watched games of. But B, you play before a shot clock. I'm sorry.
Was it a good
too
48
different.
seconds?
Man, shout out to George Mikan. I
But
used the Mike and
you
drill
play
for my
before a shot
kids.
clock.
A
I have you play before a shot
mediocre
clock, I have a heart,
48
man.
seconds? It was mid? Was it mid?
I know you was
Okay.
doing the Mike and drills in high school. You look
Mars.
like you got good
Shout
stuff around
out to
you,
him, man.
George
Shout out
Mikan
to George
or
Mikan.
AJ
I've been on the Mikan
DeBonso?
drills since I was
Whose
5.
48 second clip looks
For
better?
sure. That's the best drill in the
In
world.
today's
right there.
game, give me George Mikan, but it's just you play before the shot clock. It's kind of hard for me to
Chill.
compare that.
Chill. Do you know how George Mikan came up with that drill? You was there?
I was not there. No, sir.
Oh,
He
okay.
was the one who introduced it to him, but Mikan got all the credit because back.
That's
in
a hell of a drill right there, boy. Them
black man
kids
wants
today
them
can't do
credit
that
for
shit like that. I'll be like, Mike and drill. They be like, what is that? I'm like, man, come on, man. I got to show you this shit. They still don't know how to do it. They bring that ball down every time. I'll be like, God damn.
That shit
But-
killed me.
Shout out to
That
George
ball
Mikan,
touched
man.
the ground. I started losing my mind.
Mars,
You can't bring it
Jimmy
down. You
Butler
can't
or
struggle right
Kawhi
back
all
over.
time?
Boom, 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 boom.
Kawhi, obviously.
Jimmy Butler. Why not? I don't know why he asked me. Do I genuinely believe that? I don't remember I've ever said that.
I think
really
so,
hate these
Mark. I might have
conversations.
heard you, but
I
the
don't
way
think that they're-
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Obviously, I disagree, but I don't think it's really that crazy to have as far as like a career greater conversation. Man, shout out to Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? But like, who's better? I think it's for me. It's obviously Kawhi. But
I hate
I'm
these
not- I'm not mad at
conversations.
I think the
anybody
answer is
for having
Kawhi regardless, but I mean,
Yeah,
like,
man. And the reason why I hate these conversations is because what these dudes they try to do is they try to make it look like it's their guy and you didn't have what I had. Every last one of these dudes that got to this space, at some point, they had the things that were necessary to get them there. That happened. So
They played
not
in the
everyone.
same
greater-
era. They played in the same era. They played the
at
same
no point
position.
was-
and Kawhi's
no
better
point
than
was
him
Jimmy
at
Butler ever
everything.
considered the best player in the game. Why are we having this
Except for
he's not a bad
conversation?
passer than
Except for
Jimmy. He's not a bad
passing.
passer.
Fuck outta
Except
here,
for
man.
passing.
But chill,
No.
most people. I think I'm the only person in the world that ever had Kawhi as the best player in the world.
It was a
Yeah,
real
but people had
conversation.
Kawhi as a top 5
I
player
mean,
for
his
sure.
family probably felt that
Jimmy
way
Butler was
too.
never in that
they don't
conversation,
count
ever.
Pin. This is a
Other than
conversation
like
about
23
other
after the
people.
first round, people were trying to put him there. But like for real, no
Like,
one really.
I don't
had
even
Jimmy as a
understand
top
why we be
five.
In
having
Why was
2019, a lot of people
And
were
chill-
willing to
and-
have
and-
that
and-
conversation.
And chill. Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy Butler has had some pretty good seasons, pretty good runs. I mean, Jimmy deserves a little. Jimmy
pretty good, but
deserves-
that's
Kawhi
like Jimmy
been in
Butler.
top
Jimmy
three
Butler. Jimmy
convos.
Butler's in the Paul
I'm
George
not trying.
group. He's
I'm
in
not
the-
trying
he's
to.
not in
I'm not trying to convince y'all that Jimmy's better than Kawhi Leonard because you're talking.
He's not.
Y'all know I don't
He's
think
not.
so. I'm just saying like it's a worthy, quick conversation. It's worthy.
I think Jimmy
Jimmy's
Butler's
more-
more in the pool. I think he's more in the Paul George group than the Kawhi group. I think
Now
Kawhi
I
is.
think you
a step
disrespecting
too
Jimmy
far.
Butler.
I will
No,
say this.
not
though.
I don't.
disrespecting
I'm
him.
I'm
if-
higher on Paul George than you. So.
If Jimmy Butler gets drafted 15th to the San Antonio Spurs, he 100% has a better career than Kawhi.
Oh, that's not how that works.
That's not.
I
at all,
believe he has
no.
a better career than Kawhi.
What are you basing that
Why?
on, Ron? How? What,
Because he doesn't
okay,
break his
so
leg if he's
we're-
playing for the Spurs.
We're rewinding the clock,
That
Ron, back to
it-
2011. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So instead of
Yes.
Jimmy Butler going to the Bulls at number 30, they take
Uh-huh.
him in San Antonio, and he gets to run with Tony Parker and Duncan.
Early
Like, he gets to
career,
run-
Jimmy Butler.
He
is
gets to
not
run with
as good
Tony
as
Parker
Kawhi
and
has
Duncan
better
and
physical
Ginobili.
skills.
Why
Hold
is he
on.
better?
By
Oh, why was I talking about Paul
2014,
George? What?
by 2014 and 15, Jimmy Butler was he would have did this. He could have did the same thing on them Spurs
Lock-
teams as Kawhi.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Kawhi
Jimmy
would
took
have made
till then
Chicago
to
so
become
much
that
better.
good. Yeah, I was tripping. I thought when you said that, I thought you were talking about Paul George, which is why I spoke about breaking. Jimmy Butler, no.
No, I'm talking about Jimmy
Paul
Butler.
George,
I was
maybe.
wondering where you came
Jimmy
from.
Butler, no. Jimmy Butler.
So Jimmy Butler, he gets those same championships with the Spurs, and then he stays with the Spurs.
How do you know that though?
Yeah,
Kawhi was
He
a
wasn't
What are you
finals
basing
good
that
as
on?
Kawhi, Ron.
Kawhi
He
was
wasn't
finals
Basing that on,
MVP.
I'm basing. He doesn't have to be as good as Kawhi to go in there and guard LeBron. and do it. Like, and do you guys not remember Jimmy Butler in 2015?
Okay, why do we do this? Listen, this is not.
Do you guys not remember
this
Jimmy
is not
Butler
like comparing
2015?
Bob Cousy to
I do
Shaquille
remember
O'Neal,
that. I
where
do.
we can say, okay, different era, different position. Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard have both been on really good teams. They've both been the alpha dogs on their teams. They've both been to the finals, and we can do a side by side. Now, you saying, in my opinion, you saying that Jimmy Butler could just go and replace Kawhi.
Do
is
you not
disrespectful.
remember Jimmy Butler in 2015? I asked
Yes,
the
I
question.
remember.
I remember
round of
Kawhi
19,
being a
bro.
better player.
Kawhi was
Do
a
you-
better player.
So
Way
in
better.
2000, in
Way better.
2015, in
You remember Tobias
2015,
Harris over
Jimmy
me?
Butler.
That shit was
In
2018.
2015, Jimmy Butler led the league in minutes. Jimmy Butler was second team on defense. I know Kawhi
Who was
who he was on
in
defense.
2015?
I know Kawhi was who he
was.
was on defense, but I'm saying led the league in minutes. Got MIP, second team on defense. He averaged 25 and 5. Jimmy
Who cares?
Butler was him.
There was a-
what
there
I'm
was a
saying is, I'm
conversation.
not.
Jimmy Butler was
I'm not
amazing.
asking.
Jimmy Butler was amazing.
I'm not comparing Jimmy Butler and Kawhi as players. That's
So
not what I'm doing.
Let's not just.
Remember when
I'm
I said
saying if
there's
you-
a bigger
if you
gap
pick
between
up-
1 and 6
if you
and 6 and
pick up-
16?
Pin, that's
That's
not
the
the
point.
point I'm making. When you're playing with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu
Irrelevant.
Ginobili, and Greg Popovich, the point, why is that irrelevant? The point
It's
I'm
not
making is that you can
irrelevant. Keep
pick
going,
up Jimmy
'Cause you
Butler
made the
and put
finals
him
with
in that
Spo.
spot. Can you please let me finish my point? God damn. If you pick up Jimmy Butler and put him in that position where you are here to defend at a high level and do the other things, Jimmy Butler can fit in that role the same way Kawhi fit in that role. In 2014, they didn't give Kawhi the ball and say, hey, Kawhi, we need you to go score 25 a night. That was not Kawhi's job. Kawhi's job was to play defense, knock down open shots, and move off the ball. He was a role player who happened to break out in the finals. Jimmy Butler would have did that same thing, genius.
But you have to,
Also,
so to say that.
But he
Keep
shot
going,
as
Ron.
well
Keep
as
going.
Kawhi.
Keep going, Ron. Keep going, Ron. Keep going, Ron. Also, keep going, Ron. Keep going, Ron.
Also, I'm now looking at the next phase of what happens.
Sure.
You gotta factor in from 2016 to 2000 to right now.
Sure.
I'm projecting from 2000, and this is a lot of projections, obviously. There was a lot of shuffling and moving and stuff like that. From 2016 to right now, Jimmy Butler has undoubtedly been more healthy than Kawhi Leonard.
It has been
Undoubtedly. Now, Jimmy Butler does have his issues with coaches and teammates and stuff like that. What I'm merely projecting is Jimmy Butler in 2016, when you have DeJounte Murray, you have, and I think DeJounte might have came the next year, but or around that time, but you have young DeJounte Murray, you have LaMarcus Aldridge, you have Greg Popovich still there, and they still had a good team in 16 and 17. Jimmy Butler, I'm projecting Jimmy Butler doesn't get injured. He's more healthier. He then becomes Jimmy Buckets, and you have a guy to build around into the future instead of Kawhi. He gets injured, he gets mad, he leaves, all of that stuff. Jimmy Butler's healthier, and you have that baseline. Now, Kawhi obviously is the better player, but as we highlighted earlier, Kawhi's going to play 30 games a year, and then you got a load management, all of that. Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler, he's going to play, he's going to lead, he's going to, be who he is.
Ron, what's the
How many
talent
times
gap?
Jimmy Butler been first team
In the
all year?
Spurs systems, too. In the Spurs system,
How many times?
Again,
has
I'm
Jimmy
not
Butler been-
comparing them as players. You're
fair?
taking this somewhere
But
else. I'm not comparing them
very
as
important
players.
to mention, though, Ron, because what I want to ask you, Ron, in 2011, we got the 2011 draft. What's the talent gap between Leonard and Butler?
Oh,
The talent gap in when?
What's the talent gap between those two guys when they
go
both
draft
show up?
When they both show up?
They both showed up in 2011. What's the talent gap between those guys?
It's insane.
Like, is it a huge gap, Ron? Is it a small gap?
I don't think it's a huge gap because they were
You don't
both
think it-
projects.
Okay,
They're
Yeah,
both
am I wrong
projects.
to say
There's
Kawhi
always
was
been a
probably
gap.
more
There's
raw
always
as an
been a
offensive
gap.
player, even though they were both raw?
He was
Am I
more
wrong to say
raw,
that?
but he had
100%.
more
He was
potential.
more.
He
Yeah,
had longer
but-
arms
That's
by
where I
a
was going with
mile. He had bigger hands.
He was 2 years
just
younger.
with
I
that-
think.
he was younger.
With that being said, Ron, with that being said, Buckets was in Chicago for 8 years, right? He showed up there. He was there for 8 years, and in the 7 or 8 years he was there. When the reins were handed over to Kawhi Leonard, we didn't know he was this good of a bucket getter. I know I didn't. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I didn't know that he was this good of a scorer. I didn't know he was this good of a processor on offense. I didn't know that he was this good of a defender. Jimmy Butler, to your point, there was a conversation in 2015 who was the better two guard in the league between both him and Klay Thompson. That's as far as we went at that time. Buckets, we were having a conversation when he moved away from that role from Duncan when that dude got old, from Manu Ginobili when he got old. Where is Kawhi Leonard in the pantheon of players in the league? Is he the best player in the league? Is he a top 5 player in the league? We didn't have that conversation that early about Jimmy Butler. And I don't think that changes if Jimmy Butler is in San Antonio.
I'm not. See, this is what you guys keep confusing. I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler would be the level of player Kawhi is. We're talking about Greg Popovich and a San Antonio Spurs system.
That's
what
why he
I'm
turned
trying
into
to
that, though,
say,
Ron.
Well, you said he would
know,
do the
chill,
same
I
thing. That's what
understand.
you're saying.
Yes.
You said he
What
would do the same thing.
They're very different
I'm
players.
saying he would do the same thing because
No.
in 16, so Kawhi would
he
be
win
the
2
better player
DPOYs?
throughout the year.
You're underrating
No, he
both
wouldn't.
players
No,
here.
I'm not. No.
So how loosely
I'm
is
saying-
same? Win a
I never-
championship?
Yo,
I'm trying to follow you, Ron. I'm
so
But
trying
you're
to
using
follow
the
you.
word same
he
very
went-
loosely.
No, I said he would be better as a Spur because he would last longer as a Spur. He wouldn't have the injury issues, and I'm projecting that he wouldn't leave. He would have stayed with Greg Popovich in that system with LaMarcus Aldridge through them years, with
Those 7 years,
with
Ron, from
with
2011.
DeJounte Murray through those
Let's stay
years.
right there, Ron.
Yeah,
Let's stay right
yeah,
there. Ron.
yeah, but chill.
2011 to 2018. Let's stay right there. Do you think Jimmy Butler would have been better as a Spur than what Leonard was?
No, individually probably not. But I'm saying they still win both of those championships with Jimmy Butler inserted instead of
trying
Kawhi.
to say
No.
that Jimmy Butler
wanna
would
make
be
sure I'm
better
following
as a
you, Ron.
Spur
Really
than
do
he
discuss
was
the whole
everywhere
lot
else?
now.
I think that's what he's saying. I don't think he's saying that Jimmy Butler would be
No,
better as than Kawhi as a Spur. He's saying Jimmy Butler would be better as a Spur than he was as a Bull. Is that correct?
What I'm saying is they still win those 2 championships. In
2.
2016, when
What
Kawhi only
2?
played 9. What do you mean? What?
Yeah, well, maybe Jimmy Butler makes a free throw. I actually, 2. I'm with you, Ron. Yeah, 2.
Oh,
Maybe
so-
Jimmy
Or
Butler makes
they
Kawhi
win that. They win
slander
that. They win that one championship. My bad. They win that one
2014.
championship. So they still win that championship. But
Okay.
then also in 2018, Jimmy Butler don't like he doesn't. That's when Kawhi started being Kawhi and breaking down. Jimmy Butler doesn't just play 9 games that year. So they bounce back and they have that full year. Then he leaves to Toronto that next year. Jimmy Butler potentially doesn't just leave to Toronto because he's mad because he's disgruntled about the injury and stuff. So what I'm saying is the Spurs, it's not a gap in that Spurs legacy.
you're
It
right.
still carries on with Jimmy Butler as their alpha
never
dog.
got disgruntled ever.
He did, but I'm saying
to be
like
fair,
I'm
he
just
does have a
I'm,
history.
Come on,
no, he
man.
He does. No, he does. But I'm just projecting
Him
in
and
that
Greg
system.
Popovich.
So
Can you
he goes-
imagine him and Greg Popovich?
Oh my
Can you
God,
imagine him
Greg
and
Pop.
Popovich
I don't.
together?
I don't know. I just think he potentially could have been just as
I feel
good,
like
if
we
not a
try
better
too hard
Spur.
to make everything a conversation. Like, I feel like we just know Kawhi's better, and we're just trying to.
It really isn't, to be honest. with you.
Yeah, like,
said
I
Kawhi. I said
the same
Kawhi's
thing,
better.
Like Ron, even when you said the same thing, you didn't even mean the same thing. You just meant they still win in 2014, and it's like I guess, but like the same thing should encompass more than just do the Spurs win the one championship they won. Do they win 67 games with Jimmy Butler as their best player? Probably not. Does
the
Jimmy Butler
second-
win 2 DPOYs on the San Antonio Spurs?
Hell no.
Probably not. Is Jimmy Butler just even as good of a player as Kawhi was on the Spurs? Probably not. Like, so, like,
Okay.
the same thing being minimized to just, the one championship they won in which they demolished the Heat, they would still win with Jimmy
Okay.
Butler.
I got a
guess, but,
question.
like,
I got a question for
Kawhi's
you, Ron.
Spurs tenure was a lot more than that.
Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard met in 2019 when the Raptors faced the Philadelphia 76ers in that grueling 7-game series in which Kawhi hit that crazy bounce
Travel
in
yeah.
shot. So what I'm saying is, if prior to the series, for some reason, or prior to that year, the Raptors had decided, you know what, we took a risk on this Kawhi Leonard guy, but we don't like him. Let's swap him for Jimmy Butler. Do you think the Raptors win that series? Kawhi on the Sixers? This is them at their peak. No. Okay, cool. So that's the gap. And
The
the
Sixers will sweep the
difference
Raptors.
here
Does Kawhi
is-
get Miami
the
to the finals twice?
Yeah. How,
And wins in 2020.
maybe
No, he
not,
doesn't.
maybe
He
not, maybe
doesn't.
not, maybe
He
not. I
doesn't.
have no idea. But what I will say
Know
is
about
that
that? We
Kawhi
talking
was a
about
better
healthy
shooter.
Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi was a better shooter.
No.
Kawhi's always
Kawhi
been a
was
better
healthy in
shooter.
2020 and blew a 3-1 lead.
I don't think
think
the
so.
2014
And Jimmy Butler got
Spurs-
swept in 2021
I don't
after he
think-
was in the NBA championship.
I don't think the
When he wasn't
2014
healthy, he had
Spurs
ankle.
needed Jimmy Butler's playmaking
was
as
really
much as
healthy.
they needed Kawhi's 3-point shooting and his defense. His ability to match up with LeBron in that series was the series to me. And I think he rightfully deserved that finals MVP. So when you take that into context, does Jimmy Butler make those threes? Does Jimmy Butler lock up LeBron that way? I don't know at that point. And if your point is just, hey, you just needed an ascending all-star wing, you could have done it with Vince Carter. You could have done it with Tracy McGrady. You could have done it with Paul George. I get that to some extent. You would have done it very differently, though. And that Spurs team needed Kawhi's defense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, more so also too. I'm not necessarily just talking about the Spurs. I kind of meant to say if you flip flop their careers and put Jimmy in every situation Kawhi was in, and put Kawhi in every situation Jimmy was in, I think Jimmy, we would be talking about Jimmy a lot more favorable than Kawhi.
But we
Nah,
should talk
Kawhi-
about Jimmy more
Kawhi was still-
favorably at
Kawhi was
period.
still have rings.
Jimmy would have did better.
They would have
With-
kept
with the-
Kawhi over Tobias Harris. I guarantee it.
Guarantee.
They 100% would have done that.
You know what's
Probably.
funny?
Ron,
But Jimmy
Butler actually has the
would have
highest
did
score
better with the
on
his
Clippers.
career.
Jimmy
No,
would have did
Ron,
better
the
with the
Sixers-
Clippers than Kawhi
The
had.
Sixers would have won the championship in 19. That's what I'm
I
saying.
agree
Like,
with that. I do agree. With
like the Sixers absolutely win in 19. That team stays together. That
Leonard
team.
And
Yes.
with Leonard
If you
and
have
Joel
Leonard,
Embiid and
if you
Ben
have
Simmons.
Leonard,
the load
instead
management
of-
twins. Yeah, come on, man.
Instead
Yeah,
of
they
instead
couldn't
of if you have Kawhi instead of Ben Simmons, that team has maybe 2 rings, if not 3.
They winning it.
I don't know.
That's one I could say. But I once again, and I still stand by it. Individually, Kawhi might be better than him with the Spurs. I think they still do the same thing with Jimmy Butler there. With the Clippers, Jimmy does better than Kawhi with the Clippers. If you
Kawhi's-
flip flop
Kawhi's
them,
still better-
if you
Kawhi's
flip
still better
if
than
you
Jimmy
flip flop
today.
them, if you flip Kawhi's ability to or Jimmy's ability to floor raise and just what he provides for the team, it would have been better. It would have been him next to Paul George would have been better than Kawhi next to Paul George. And on top of that, Jimmy's just healthier over
Kawhi
those
was
years.
so okay. If you
And
talk
on
about
top of
the
that,
health,
Jimmy's just healthier.
if you talk about the health, if you talk about the health, I
the
can
health's
kinda
a big,
get with you, but
it's
yeah,
a
but
big
Jimmy-
reason of it. It's
Jimmy
a big
hasn't
point.
Jimmy hasn't been all that healthy these past 5 years either. So
I
that's
hate
what
the
I'm
fact
saying.
that
But
this
look,
dude who said
but
the
look,
Super
either
Chat
way,
is
either
smiling
way,
because he think he started a
either-
conversation
either-
between Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard because you didn't.
either way,
Did not.
he clearly did because
He's
we're
not
talking
better-
about it. Because Ron, look,
Never
Ron,
said he
Ron,
was
Ron,
better.
Ron,
I
just
never
listen,
said he was
just listen.
better. This whole
Jimmy-
time I never
Jim-
said he was better.
I know you didn't say that, but I'm trying to say is that Kawhi Leonard was better than Jimmy the first 7 years of their career, and the gap has grown. Like Kawhi in these past
Has
these
Kawhi
past
been better
5
than
years-
Jimmy these past 5 years?
Yes, absolutely. Kawhi's
And
better
that-
than Jimmy
and that's
today.
And that's fair,
Not really.
but I still have to look back at production for the last 5 years. And the point that I'm making is Jimmy Butler has 2 finals runs, and he's just what he's done, just team wise and winning wise. We haven't got that from Kawhi. Kawhi did have 2019, but outside of 2019, Jimmy has done it twice. And that's really just the point I'm making.
But the difference, so like when you look at their careers side by side, statistically, they're almost identical. You know where they really differentiate? In the playoffs. In the playoffs, they are completely different players. And people talk about playoff Jimmy.
That is a
Kawhi
real
is
thing.
5% more efficient than playoff Jimmy from true shooting percentage.
He was just better than him.
Well, Kawhi's
He
a better
is
scorer
better.
than Jimmy for sure.
I mean, y'all gonna act like Kawhi had to hit that lucky ass bounce to beat Jimmy and them.
But
travel.
yo,
yeah, y'all gonna
Mars,
act like he ain't had to do that
That's not-
shit.
that's
though.
not-
Come
that's
on,
not
don't
called
do
a
that.
lucky
Don't do
bounce.
that.
Mars,
That's
when
not
you
a
look
lucky
at
bounce. That's called flicking your wrist and getting the ball up there. You flick
Did
your
he
wrist
travel
like that,
first?
Mars,
no,
he
he
absolutely
didn't travel.
He
Mars,
absolutely.
when you
That's
look
fine.
at-
That's fine. They ain't call it.
I don't
They
think he
ain't
traveled.
call it. It's cool. He got it.
Either way,
Great
that's not called a lucky bounce. That's called just flicking your wrist, shooting the ball, and when you get it up on the rim, it's gonna go in. That's just good basketball.
I'm kind of with Ron. On the Jimmy with the Spurs thing because it set a foundation for Jimmy, just like it set a foundation for Kawhi. So I think that shapes his game a little bit differently. And Jimmy is despite how he was early on in his career, Jimmy's a team first player too. Like Kawhi struggled from the stories that they heard about Kawhi in San Antonio. Kawhi struggled with just fitting in too. That's why he wanted to leave a lot of times. Like he struggled with just fitting into the Spurs culture and identity. Like Kawhi wanted a bigger role.
Leave San Antonio because they weren't taking care of him like he thought that they
And he
should.
wanted a bigger role too. They talked about that too.
Right.
Him wanting to be a superstar. They
he was
had
already a superstar.
He was.
no, but he
But
wanted a
do
bigger
y'all
role.
know, y'all know
biggest
how much
role.
y'all know how much better the Bulls would have been with Kawhi Leonard?
Probably so, but to the whole
Bulls
point of
team with
Kawhi
Rondo
wanted
and
to leave
D-Wade.
because he wanted
So-
to be, he wanted to show his game a lot more, and he felt like he couldn't do that in San Antonio. That's
Who
what.
told you this?
Yeah,
Just look it
because
up. Just look it up on. Just look it up. That's all you gotta do.
On the
Just go
dark
look it up.
web? Where I gotta go? He was already
Nah,
like an MVP
I made
candidate.
it. I just made it up here. I just made it up.
I mean, you clearly are.
I just
You're
made it up.
making
I just told you I just made it up. Go ahead.
Mars,
I
where's
just
the
made it up.
travel at on
the issue was
on
trust.
Leonard?
Hold on. The issue was trust. With medical staff, it was a trust issue. His teammates called him
Man, I
out.
just told you I just made it up. Just let it go. I just made it up. I just make shit up.
Well,
Let
now
it go.
you just told
I
1,600
just
people
make shit up.
that
That's what I do. I just make shit up.
Okay,
I just pull
bro.
it out my ass and just make it up.
wanting a bigger role was never part of the Kawhi Leonard issue in San Antonio.
Move on,
okay,
then. Move on, then. You never seen it before. I just made it up. Move on.
bro was averaging like 30
Okay.
points per game, but he wanted a bigger role.
All right, okay then. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just go ahead. Pen.
Thank
I
you.
just made
Okay,
it up.
good. Okay, cool.
There you go.
So what was the issue? Tony Parker called him out, said, "My doctors, I trust my Spurs doctors," and he
was
felt
wrong for
very
saying
put
that,
out,
too,
and he felt very put out by his teammates.
And that's another reason why I'm saying what I'm saying with Jimmy with the Spurs.
Yeah.
I don't like Jimmy. Jimmy's not sitting
Okay.
out games. Jimmy's play. He's once again Jimmy is a workhorse. Jimmy shows up to work. Jimmy plays hard.
Jimmy does not
plays
have
a lot of
degenerate
minutes.
knee issue. It's
And
not the
that
same
is the
thing.
point that I'm making. I'm not knocking Kawhi for that. I'm just saying in San Antonio, Jimmy Butler is young, he's healthy, and he doesn't have to be on load management. That's merely the point I'm making. I have throughout this conversation, I've stayed consistent. I'm not saying Jimmy is better than Kawhi. What I'm saying is Jimmy's more available than Kawhi. Jimmy's going to be able to play more than Kawhi. Jimmy's going to fit into that San Antonio system more than Kawhi. I think he fits next to LaMarcus Aldridge and plays under Greg Popovich better than Kawhi, just in terms of just team chemistry and fluidity and all of that. Now, when we talk about individual players and individual talents, yes, Kawhi got it. But even once again, when we get to the Clippers, the reason why I say I think Jimmy Butler
Who's
would
better
be
in the
better
playoffs?
because he would be more available.
better
Yeah,
in the playoffs?
and that's cool. Who gets injured more in the playoffs? Okay, then. I'm saying
Who's played more playoff games?
Pin.
But that's about going far in the playoffs. That's not bad.
Yeah,
That's
like
part of it, but
come
apparently
on,
this guy
like-
just breaking down in the playoffs. Then I need to
He
know who played more
is.
playoff
It's
games.
Kawhi Leonard. Come on, like what
They
are we
have been
fighting?
in the
Like,
career. No, hold on. They have been in the league for the exact same number of times, same number of years, same draft class. Okay, so their
Pin,
career is
come
very
on,
interesting.
dog.
Yo, they were
Come
both
on.
Yo, Ron. Honestly, I think
Kawhi went to the finals 3 different times.
Mhm.
With
Jimmy
it, and he played
Butler-
and he played with that Spurs team built on the back of legends. So he had the first 7 years of his career was built on a system that was winning, that hadn't missed the playoffs in 20 years.
The
A lot of that is
system
factored
player
into it.
bullshit. I'm sorry, I completely forgot about this. How'd that system run when he left? What happened? We went to the playoffs once, and then we tanked for 5 years until we got the 7'7" Martian from France. Yeah, I remember that.
And who else wasn't there? And who else?
Look,
wasn't
man,
there?
I'm sick and tired of this Kawhi Leonard. Anyone could do what he did. Bullshit. It is irritating as hell. Kawhi Leonard is one of the all-time playoff risers. I talk about Anthony Edwards being a playoff riser. I talk about Michael Jordan being a bit of a playoff riser. Kawhi Leonard is the ultimate playoff riser. Between Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard in their regular seasons, believe it or not, there's only a 1% gap in their true shooting on their entire career. They're same draft class. They've played very similar number of games. They both had a lot of injuries. Jimmy has played more games. They are actually pretty similar players in a lot of ways. They're wings, etc. I get all of that. Kawhi's a better defender, and his peaks in the playoff, the stratosphere that he's gotten to
When he's not hurt.
no.
I mean,
And that's the
Jimmy
point.
got
He's
to
played
go
more
deep,
playoff
too.
games.
Like,
So what
Jimmy
I'm
got to
telling
go
you,
when
deep,
he's
too. Kawhi
when
just
he's
has
so
healthy.
Ron, I say he's
Jimmy's
played
got
more
to go
playoff
deep,
games.
too.
You say, well, he was carrying on the back of the Spurs. I say he's like you use and then you use durability.
Pin,
Well,
two
which
things
of
can be
which of the
true.
arguments is it?
They can
I'm
all
not
be
gonna-
true though.
The answer is very obvious. I had to just check, and I've saved us all another 20 minutes. Jimmy Butler's VORP is higher.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there we go.
I said
We can move on.
Hey, no, he
move on.
probably
We
Ben
can
probably
move
knew
on.
that,
We-
but he
we
wasn't
can
gonna
move
bring
on.
it up.
We
I
can move
brought
on.
it up, Jordan.
We can move on. We can move on.
I
We're
didn't
done
hear
now.
about
I
the
brought it up like
We're
4
done now.
minutes ago. What's wrong with
We're
you?
done now.
Okay,
We're done now.
I brought that up, but guess
Oh,
what?
we're not done now. Okay, never mind.
Who got a higher VORP in the playoffs?
I actually checked that too. It was Kawhi, but I ignored that because it didn't help.
Oh,
That's
so
what
Mars, you doing what Penn be doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to move on. Go down. Please.
God damn.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. With a check throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. Yeah, this that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.